Hi everyone, welcome to Python Osmosis episode 44, the screencast that creates a template for you to learn Python. I'm Ryan Shea, and in this episode we'll be talking about the standard library, templating. So template is a module within the string package. So from string, import template. Pull that right into our namespace. And the main thing that we're going to use this for is to substitute variables into a string template. Let's take a look at creating a string template. T equals, we're going to instantiate this. $sign will specify what a variable is. So we have this string literal that has $signs, and this is how we're specifying what goes into the template. The village variable is going to end up going into this string. Folk send $10 to cause. All right, so a couple of things of note here. Since village was part of a longer string, I use these curly braces to separate it out. Here's the normal way that you have a variable substitution. $cause. Okay. Now here I want the literal string $10. So I have to escape that $sign to tell it I'm not looking for a variable called 10. I really want you to print 10. And I escape that by putting $sign twice. Over here, I want to have a big string printed out that has folk in it, sort of ends with folk. And so how do I separate out, instead of just typing village folk, which would look for a variable called village folk, I separate it out with these curly braces. Okay, does that make sense? And T, now we have this string template. So what we can do with this is substitute. T dot substitute, and then I can pass in a keyword argument equals Nottingham cause equals the ditch fund. And it printed out just what we thought. Nottingham folk, that one big string, there was our variable which was part of that string. Nottingham folks send $10 to the ditch fund. Let's take a look at another example that uses what's called safe substitute. I'm going to start out by doing the same sort of thing. T equals, instantiate that template. All right, so I have two variables in there, right? Item and owner. I'll take this keyword argument and send it into dict. Kind of a weird way of creating a dictionary, but now I have a dictionary with one item called item, and it's an unladen swallow. So I'm going to do, as we did before, dot substitute, and then I'll pass in D here. Now notice this is just like a keyword argument. I could do this. I could do star star, or I could omit the stars. Now what that's going to do is substitute in the items from this dictionary into my string formatting template. Now in this case I only have item, but what's required is item and owner. So what's going to happen? I get a key error. It's looking for owner and it didn't have it. So there's something called safe substitute that we can do where it tries its best. So I get a string back and it says $owner, but I did get unladen swallow replaced in there. So it kind of worked. So that was a good thing. Safe substitute. If you don't want to have that traceback coming back, it's better to see $owner so that at least they have an idea as to what the string was. Let's take a look at an example of a way that this can be used. How about a batch renaming utility? So in this directory I've got these image files. Pretty common, 1074.76.77, which that's not very descriptive. So let's make something that can deal with that. Time os.path. Let's just pull in a couple of modules. I'm going to make a list of these photo files. Okay? And that's the list that we saw right on the command line there. I'm going to subclass the template class. So class battery name template, and I'm going to replace the delimiter, which is normally what? A $sign, right? So I'm going to set that to the % string. So now I have this new class called battery name, and it is a template meta class, and all I've done is overrode the $sign with a %. So now I can create string templates with the % sign. So let's get some input from the user. Let's make it so that it pulls raw input. Enter rename style, and in here we'll give the user a little bit more information. So you can use % signs like %d for date and %n for sequence number and %f for format. Alright, so it's going to prompt me, enter rename style. So I'm going to do Ashley. This was taking pictures of Ashley, and I'll do %n, do the number followed by the format. So now, if I look, what I should have is a template called T. So I have a string template object. Actually, no. At this point, I just have my raw input, FMT. T is left over from before, my mistake. So let's make a new template, which is the battery name class, where we overrode the $sign. We'll take that FMT we got from the user. Whoops, need an equal sign. And so now, T is a battery name object, and we have that ready. We're going to use that date module, or that time module that we pulled in. We're going to set a variable called date. Strf time, %d, %b, %y. Okay, I just want to get a string of the date, and I'm going to, use this in my renaming. So for I, file name in enumerate. If you remember, this is a way of getting sort of the index of a list, like 0, 1, 2, back as along with the actual element itself. Base ext, little tuple unpacking. Split ext. Okay, what that does is it's sort of like a split, but in this case we have, where's our list of file names here? So you've got sort of the name of the file, and then you've got the extension .jpeg. So what splitx does is it breaks it up into those two chunks, this part and the .jpg part. Okay. So we're going to have a new name equals the substitute of using the template, and the D equals date that we did above, N equals I from our enumerate, F equals X from our split X. So if we had JPEGs and some were PNGs and some were GIFs, it would be able to handle any of those. Okay? So now we have our substituted version, and let's do print. 0, this is new style printing. 1 dot format, file name, new name, and will it work? It does. So this is how it would go about renaming it. It would rename them into Ashley 0, 1, 2. That's all for now. This screencast is directly inspired by the official Python tutorial by Guido van Rossum at python.org.